We are here to bring a new type of news show.
New insights, new styles, and new topics every day.
We are News Generation.
Bringing news just for you. It's Tuesday, June 10th here in Seoul. I'm Song Yushin and you're watching News Generation. Joining us today is Kwon Ji-yeon.
Happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday, Ji-yeon and Im Sang-yeon.
Good to see you guys.
Good to see you. Now, both are here to speak on behalf of those in their 20s and 30s. As usual, we're going to begin with our keyword news. Today's keyword is happy ending. Now, the Broadway musical Maybe Happy Ending had a fantastic night at this year's Tony Awards, which was held on Sunday local time at Radio City Music Hall in New York City. The romantic sci-fi musical took home 6 awards, including 3 of the biggest honors, which are Best Musical, Best Actor, and Best Director. Maybe Happy Ending is the Broadway adaptation of the Korean musical of the same name, which first officially premiered in Seoul back in 2016. So, Sang-yeon, can you walk our viewers through the plot of the show? And I want to ask both of you whether you had the chance to watch the musical, either the Korean or the Broadway version, and if you did, what you thought of it.
Well, I haven't watched it, but as I was researching this topic, I found this plot really beautiful. So maybe Happy Ending is set near future Seoul, and it follows Oliver, an outdated helper robot who lives alone waiting for his long gone owner. And one day he meets his neighborhood robot, and her name is Claire, and the two form an unity and friendship. And as they embark on a secret trip to Jeju Island, pretending to be a human, their relationship blossoms into love. But Claire's battery life is fading, and they both struggle with the pain of being lonely and obsolete. And in the end, they choose to erase their memory to spare the grief. But fate gently brings them back together in the end. So it's an emotional story about love and loss, and it's really touching.
Right. So I personally had the chance to watch the Korean version of the musical. I would like to definitely recommend it to our viewers because the plot line, as Sang-yeon mentioned, is a sci-fi musical, which is quite unique. So very interesting. And most of all, the music, the scores there are amazing as well. So definitely recommend you to check it out. Now to you, Ji-yeon, what about you?
Well, the storyline sounds very interesting.
Very interesting.
Indeed. But I haven't seen the musical yet. I have listened to the soundtrack quite a lot on YouTube channels, and the music is just lovely, beautiful. Well, over the weekend, I performed with some local theatre actors, Korean theatre actresses, and it reminded me just how incredibly refined our Korean musical scene is right now, currently. And honestly, there's something next level about the way we tell stories through music and stage. It's a piece of work, and no wonder maybe Happy Ending swept the Tonys. It truly deserves the spotlight. I'm so proud to see a homegrown piece shine on Broadway, from Seoul to Broadway. Not bad for a maybe, and it's definitely a happy ending.
It is indeed. It was indeed a very historic night for the Korean musical industry. And that was our keyword news for this Tuesday. So we're now going to move on to our main discussion of the day by taking a look at the screen.
A growing number of international students are now questioning their future in the U.S. following the Trump administration's recent moves. In a controversial proclamation, President Donald Trump moved to suspend visa issuance for certain foreign nationals, specifically targeting participants in academic and exchange visitor programs associated with Harvard University. This has reignited concerns over access to education and academic freedom in the U.S.
So today on News Generation, we are going to take a closer look at how this decision by the Trump administration is affecting students, schools, and perceptions of American education around the world. So we actually covered a similar story not too long ago related to student visas, when foreign students were thrown into confusion after their visas were suddenly canceled. Now this time, it's a more targeted move, I think we could say. So Ji-yeon, starting off, can you explain exactly what actions the Trump administration has taken regarding Harvard?
Well, let's go back to May. The Trump administration took an unprecedented step by revoking Harvard University's eligibility to enroll international students. Then in June, they moved further by limiting visa issuance for those planning to study at Harvard University. And according to a statement by the Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security on social media this past May, Harvard University has lost its Student and Exchange Visitor Program, known as SEVP certification, for the 2025 to 2026 academic year due to its failure to comply with the law. So let me briefly tell you about the program. SEVP, this is managed by the US Department of Homeland Security, and it oversees the issuance of student visas. Without the certification, schools cannot issue any documentation, and international students, both new and current ones, they may lose their legal status in the United States unless they transfer to another institution. So if they want to enroll in one of the schools in the United States, they've got to move there, transfer to another institutions.
I mean, I can't imagine what these students would feel and what they're going through, because this news has been making headlines not only in the United States but in other parts of the world ever since this incident happened, as Chuya mentioned back in May. So Sang-Hyo, I want to ask you, tell us about the mood on the campus right now. So how are students and also faculty members reacting to this?
Well, it's definitely not good. And Harvard immediately filed a lawsuit against the federal government's decision and secured a court injunction within hours. A court hearing is scheduled for now in June 16th to determine whether this injunction decision should be extended. And currently there are about 6,800 international students enrolled at Harvard, making up approximately 27% of the student population today. And as of 2022, there were 317 Korean students enrolled, ranking 4th by nationality. And in general, around 63,000 Korean students are registered in SCVP, as you can see here on the screen. And it's not just Harvard students being affected, of course. Following the government's action, thousands of international students have been hesitant to attend the graduation ceremonies, and they are also inquiring about transferring, or some of them are even considering returning to their home countries. And moreover, not only students but also researchers and faculty members are facing instabilities due to the current situation.
Right. So far we've taken a look at the status quo of all of this. So we're now going to explore both sides of this issue. So starting off, Chuyeon, why did the U.S. government or the Trump administration take this kind of action? So I think many people are curious about the reasoning behind this.
Yes, the reason. And well, the US Department of Homeland Security justified the decision by accusing Harvard of anti-Semitic behavior, which is, discrimination against Jewish people, and also alleged ties to the Chinese Communist Party. They claim that international students played a crucial role in these issues, in these actions. President Trump also stated, you are going to see some very radical people who are involved in these actions. They are taking people from areas of the world that are very radicalized, and we don't want them making trouble in the US. And he went on to suggest that the number of international students should be cut in half, a cap of maybe around 15%, not 31%. However, many international media outlets speculate that this move may have less to do with the national security. It is related to politics. It's not about the national security. So namely solidifying support from Trump's core voter base, which largely consists of working class Americans without college degrees.
So this decision, if it does take into actual effect, it could completely upend how Harvard is operating. It could greatly affect its student body and faculty members and so much more. So Sang-Hyo, how has Harvard so far responded to this reasoning by the government?
Well, the university definitely stresses there is no credible evidence supporting allegations that its international students are radicalized or threaten the U.S. security. So Harvard's lawsuit argues the government's action is unlawful retaliation tied to ideological disputes and thus violates constitutional rights. And the complaint also highlights the abrupt removal of SCVP certification without significant due process. At the commencement ceremony, the president of Harvard delivered an address declaring that blind conviction demands a price. And this signals the university's determination not to yield to the government's relentless attacks. Additionally, Professor Stephen Levitsky of Harvard strongly criticized the measure, comparing it to actions taken by North Korea. And he also noted that the second Trump administration is launching attacks in a more extreme manner than during its first term.
So very strong statements made by both sides. So we'll see how this conflict unfolds and unravels. But in the meantime, to dive deeper into this conflict after the break, we'll be joined by a Korean doctoral student who is currently studying in the United States. We'll be right back.
NewsGen wants to hear from you. Go to YouTube and search our channel Arirang News. Click Community and leave a comment down below. Make a new type of news with us.
Welcome back. Joining us today is Kim Young-bin, a doctoral student who's currently studying in the United States. Welcome back to the show, Young-bin.
Hello, thank you for having me today.
Thank you for joining us once again. So, Young-bin, another, should we say, a major announcement or a major news involving students who are currently studying in the United States. So, we'd first like to ask you, how are Korean students around you reacting to this recent conflict between the Trump administration and Harvard?
Korean students are watching the Harvard case very closely. The situation has sparked a lot of conversation, and many are surprised by how quickly it escalated. Right now, a federal judge in Massachusetts has issued a temporary restraining order against the ban, and the State Department has instructed embassies to resume processing visas for incoming Harvard students. For the moment, most of us feel somewhat relieved. Still, there is a great deal of uncertainty about what will happen next. Many worry that if the administration is targeting Harvard today, other schools could be next. There are even rumors that UC, University of California, might be affected. I'm currently studying in UC system myself, so I sincerely hope that my future colleagues will not be impacted.
I see. Then, Young-bin, what's the current legal status of this conflict?
Well, I mean, this Harvard case involves a direct action against specific university and its international students, but I think what worries many of us international students in the U.S. is that recent visa regulations and changes. Our international office has started sending out weekly emails advising students not to travel home this summer. Given all the changes and uncertainty this year, they recommend minimizing any risks that could jeopardize our visa status. And the atmosphere among international students is tense. A series of visa-related regulations has created growing concern. A newly expanded travel ban now includes 12 countries, and all new F1, which is student visa, J1, and M1 visa interviews have been paused to allow for enhanced social media vetting by consular offices. So the administration has even announced a plan to aggressively revoke visas held by Chinese students, while Korean students are not directly targeted for now. The overall environment remains really unsettling. Having personally gone through the US visa process, I know how stressful it can be under normal circumstances. This legal battle only adds another layer of unpredictability for all of us. Most Korean students I know, including myself, have decided to stay in the US over the summer just in case. I believe this is not just about Harvard or UC. These legal changes and lawsuits signal broader challenges for international students across the country.
Okay, Young-bin, then as we move forward, where do you think this issue is being headed, and what are the ways to resolve this issue?
I think right now the primary focus is on the court hearing scheduled for June 16, which will determine whether the temporary relief granted to Harvard's visa processing will become permanent. And I recently read that over the past 25 years, international student enrollment in the U.S. has doubled, with more than 1 million students from abroad currently studying here. Ideally, the administration should work collaboratively with universities to establish clear and transparent guidelines for international student visas, rather than imposing unilateral restrictions. For a more durable solution, I believe legislative action is necessary. Congress could consider enacting laws that protect universities' SEVP certifications ensuring they cannot be revoked without clear and justified reasons. At the same time, universities should proactively strengthen their compliance with svep regulations to prevent potential issues. I mean, having gone through the student visa process myself, I trust the monitoring systems in place, but I also believe that clearer, consistent guidelines are essential for everyone involved.
All right, Youngbin, thank you so much for your time today. Hang in there and hope things turn out well.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Have
you.
a great
Thank
day.
you.
You too. Okay, so we just heard from Youngbin, our interviewee, that some universities, even beyond Harvard, they're worried that this could become a wider crackdown impacting a wider number of students. So let's now take the time to kind of walk our viewers through what kind of ripple effects this could have on other universities.
That's a good question. Well, this decision is likely to have a broader implication beyond just Harvard. Many other universities, like Youngbin mentioned, with large international student population, are now on edge, unsure if they might be targeted next. So that's why they're not moving, they're not coming back to their home country. It's not just about one school. This move sends a strong message that could discourage students around the world from choosing to study in the US. We may see a ripple effect in admissions, research collaborations between the US and other countries like Korea, and even the US global reputation in higher education, in doctoral degrees. And ultimately, it could reshape how international students view their future in American higher education, whether they were going to study or not in that country. So then the question is no longer just why Harvard, but who is next? Which country, which university will be under scrutiny?
A lot of uncertainty there. Anything you'd like to add, Sang-yeop?
Well, American dream is definitely fading away, and adding on to Juyeon's comment, so other universities excuse me, may become the next targets. So the government has already hinted that visa scrutiny will expand beyond Harvard, and this creates chilling effect, obviously, and especially for schools with large international student populations such as Stanford or UC Berkeley. Now, international students often pay full tuition, making them vital for funding graduate programs, research, and even scholarships for domestic students. A drop in enrollment could also lead to budget cuts, downsizing of programs, or faculty layoffs. Now, top-tier international talents, especially those studying AI or bioengineering, may choose Europe or Asian universities as an alternative, and this could diminish the U.S. global outreach in research.
Right, so this could potentially affect not only the students who are studying at specific universities, but the talent pool of the United States as well.
Right.
Okay, so ending off, I think that it's kind of hard, it will be kind of hard for us to give us a solution or kind of talk about where this issue should be headed, but I think that we can at least think about why resolving this issue is so important.
Yes, it is important indeed, but why? As countless students have invested immense time, their time and resources in their studies, also their money, it's been a roller coaster ride for many of them right now, full of anxiety, uncertainty, and unanswered questions, as you mentioned. It's deeply unfair to penalize them for decisions beyond their control. And regardless of the political or religious context, it's the students who suffer most right now in the States. We must uphold principles of justice and academic freedom for them. They have poured their years of effort and resources into their future. This isn't just a policy issue. It's a personal crisis for thousands of students over there. So let's not let politics steal their dreams.
This could be a life-changing decision for so many students.
Indeed.
All right, please share your ideas too, Sang-yeop.
Well, the thing is, if the university can be penalized for ideological reasons or political defiance, it sets a dangerous precedent. And this undermines the principle of university independence, where institutions are meant to pursue truth free from government coercion. And academic freedom is not just a value, it's a foundation for the innovation, especially in democratic societies. And also, the US has long been the top destinations for international students due to world-class faculty and open intellectual culture. And if this decision is enforced in reality, countries like Canada or UK will overtake the US in talent acquisition. So since education is a form of soft power, US global influence will inevitably go down.
Which is the reason why we really hope that this issue is resolved in a swift manner. And that's all we have for today, but NewsGen will be back tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. Korea time. Special thanks to Kwon-Ji-yeon.
Thank you for having me, Eugene.
Thank you, and Im Sang-yeon.
Thank you for having me
Thank
as well.
you, and to our viewers, thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you tomorrow on Wednesday. We are News Generation.